Alright, hello everyone, my name is Shep, welcome back to the Circus, and today we are going to be watching a best of 3 between myself and Duelist. So we played these matches while I was in the very height of my sickness, and right now I'm almost completely cured. I still get a cough like every 15 minutes or so, maybe if I'm talking it's going to be a bit more than that, but let's get straight into the best of 3. So I'm playing Shep Stress number 1 with the doggy in the back, going for the full aggression setup, while Duelist is actually playing with Silex Prot, and he's rocking a Stun Crusader on it with no Block of Light, so it's overall probably gonna do better than the usual Silex Prot would into my team, but they get to go first, which I was obviously a bit annoyed about, because they would be able to, drop the bolster before I can do anything, drop all the good stuff, but yeah, I go for the Slam on the Crusader. Unfortunately, that glorious standard makes him resist the push, and then, even though they didn't go for the command buff and I have the extra 15 dodge, they get a crit panic darts on my doggy, so this is already being quite a fantastic start. Of course, not going first means that my Abomination also won't be able to drop Bile start of next round, but he's not going to be able to do that anyway, because now he would be getting stunned, but he actually gets a very juicy dodge on it. Duelist goes for the 80% chance and it fails miserably. I drop a command buff because that's what you do in the Shep Stress, and I unfortunately, not only do I not hit every character, I don't get a single crit, and I fail a bleed on the Crusader, even though I have the Crimson Hook and the attack whistle. So one thing I should mention is that while I was playing these matches, like, you might see how my mouse like goes from here to like doing its action and then right back into it. I was dying as I was doing this. I was sometimes like closing my eyes. I wanted to go to bed. I just wanted to chillax. I absolutely could not do voiced commentary. Of course, that later, as the best of 3 goes on, I do actually get a bit more active and get a bit more into the matches, but yeah, I was completely dying as we were playing through this. But so that's why I ended up picking Shep Stress, because Shep Stress is a team that I have so much muscle memory on, that I know how to play with all these principles, that I don't really have to think too much anymore. And that's actually a very good thing, because one mistake is going to ruin you the match, and if you don't make mistakes ever, at least with 1 or 2 specific teams, then you're going to win a lot of matches, right? The idea about the Butcher Circus is that you get very, very good with this specific team, probably your favorite team, and then after you learn that team, you learn all its ins and outs, you go to another one, you get very good with that team as well, and you do this a couple of times, like over a lot of hours of learning each specific team and all of their matchups, and you do that for multiple teams, and you're going to be one of the best Butcher Circusers if your teams are meta. If they're trash, then it doesn't really matter all that much. So yeah, here I'm going for another command buff, because as we all know, 2 command buffs equals crits. We saw the FCC video yesterday, and I don't really fancy that Grave Robber dodge, so kind of a weird decision by me not to go bolster, especially in a matchup like this. The bolster could have been very handy, but I just go for the command buffs. Now this time I do hit everyone, but once again, 0 crits from my Houndseri. I really need to start getting some crits here. With Crimson Hook and hitting 4 characters and with 2 command buffs, you have like really good crit chances. Overall better than the Arbalest, so it's a bit unfortunate that I'm not getting any with the doggy, but the Flagellant is getting his own crits, which is excuse me, obviously quite good. Oh, that wasn't 15 minutes. I misplayed. I misplayed IRL. So that Man-at-Arms does have the Rancid Cure-All, but it doesn't seem to be helping him all that much in this situation, unfortunately for Duelist. But the way this match is gonna go is my doggy is probably gonna get deleted, and unfortunately I don't have a guard for him, because I don't bring guard on my Man-at-Arms. And even if I did, they would kill my Man-at-Arms, but that would be good, because if my Man-at-Arms is getting killed while the doggy is just chilling and spamming carries, it would be very good. The reason I don't bring guard is because there's gonna be teams that don't even care that much about don't even care that amount about the guard, which it's just a bit unfortunate. So yeah, in a situation like this, sure, they would still Panic Darts my Man-at-Arms and then Rain of Sorrows my Man-at-Arms or something like that, and he would still die relatively quick, because I don't have a defensive setup on him, at least not against DOT and Stress. But my doggy would be able to drop a couple of Hound Series, so in a situation like this it would be better to have the guard, just keep the doggy alive for a teeny tiny bit longer. You could actually stay alive indefinitely, come to think of it, if I were to move the Man-at-Arms to position 2 and guard the doggy. So yeah, he'd be able to stay alive at almost forever, but that's kind of just what you get playing Silex Prot. You kind of have that problem of not... Well, I guess you do have a guard break here with the Crusader. Having stunned Crusader on the Silex Prot setup is quite interesting. I prefer the anti-Quarian version, because then I can do AOEs, and it's really fun doing AOEs. But yeah, he's just going for stuns, and if I stack too much horror with like the transformations, then he's just going to go boom with that Inspiring Cry and kind of just remove all my work. But look at this, it's round 3 and I've done nothing. Sure, they have stress resistance trinkets and a bolster, and they have dodge on the Grave Robber, but I've been spamming command buffs, I've been going Hounds, I've been going for all the best stuff, and I just haven't done enough. Look at me though, I have 3 command buffs, and I pass. First turn I go Afflicted, I immediately pass, and it happened... Yeah, because of the Rain of Sorrows. It happened because of the Rain of Sorrows. But you know, it's fine, I still have 3 command buffs. No, actually, no, I have 2 at this point. Or maybe I had 3. Doesn't matter. My opponent gets the 25 on me, so that's 2 Hound Series. A minimum of 2 Hound Series that I was robbed of at that very point. And it feels really bad, because 2 Hound Series absolutely make the difference. Usually 1 Hound Series makes a difference, but losing 2... Yeah, going Fearful, immediately passing, and then just not having a doggy anymore on the 25er. Whoa, you must imagine I was not feeling too happy about it. So you can't really, you can't really tell, because my mouse is just static in the middle. I remember that I was feeling like, oh, okay, that happened. It's fine, keep playing. Keep playing. That's what I thought. At that specific moment, I did not care too much about my doggy dying. I wasn't going like, no. I was more like just somberly accepting it, because that had been what I had been doing the past couple days. I was somberly accepting my situation, and the same thing happened for that poor little doggy there in the back. But it is still a 3v4. My Abomination is quite healthy, but now so is their Man-at-Arms and so is their Flagellant. So kind of a weird redeem to drop there. The reason that Duelist dropped it was most likely because they were worried I'd just go Transform Rage and then probably get a 20 on the Flagellant. They were potentially worried about that, which does make sense. You know, it does make sense they'd get worried about it. Because if I were to get a 20, then it would probably just be GG, because I have a Flagellant, the Crusader is decent but not that good, and I'd be able to just kill the Grave Robber through Reign of Sorrows. Sure, they could try to go for heals and guards, but then I just kill the Man-at-Arms too, because I have the Crimson Hook, and I can actually apply bleeds to the Man-at-Arms, unlike another Flagellant would. So yeah, now I'm just transforming. I slammed the Crusader because I kind of didn't want to get stunned, and I didn't really have too much else spare to do. I could have gone Rage on someone, but there was really no one I wanted to Rage at that point, so transform, slam into stun it is, and at least the Crusader now doesn't get to act for a while, and everyone else has to chew on that horror. But it's round 5, and this is really uncharacteristic. Not a single affliction yet. Like, it sucks. How is it even possible? I was asking myself, how have I done 0 afflictions? Here I'm gonna go afflicted myself on the Abomination, just getting outsped in this situation. I go Paranoid, which I was actually quite happy about, because Paranoid lets me move back, which could be a game changer at this point in time. I could always just go for that Beast Pile. I get a nice juicy crit on the Crusader, but unfortunately it just misses. But can you imagine if I had another 2 Hound series here? So the Crusader would be dropping to 0, the Man-at-Arms would be afflicted, probably dropping to 0 too. I mean, that's like a minimum of 14 points of damage if I get the bleeds. And I had 3 command buffs on it, so yeah, I'd definitely get all the hits, I'd get all the crits. But, you know, no doggy. No doggy for me. I'm just basically venting out my frustrations from this match, even though it happened many days ago. I am still feeling frustrated about it. So at this point, by round 5... Remember that, by round 5, the Grave Robber goes Irrational. She goes Irrational, which is an affliction that gives you a pass chance, a chance to do anything random. It gives you -5 accuracy, -5 dodge, and -10% damage. So the -10% damage doesn't really matter for the Grave Robber, but overall Irrational really not the best affliction to get on her. So let's see how that actually plays out. The Man-at-Arms is about to go Afflicted 2, and the Crusader can go Virtuous. He does have that Sacred Blade, and he does have the Inspiring Cry. I believe the Inspiring Cry should have been used once or twice, at least before now. It would have been really helpful dealing with the horror that I had going, plus the stress, since my doggy is already gone, but I kinda did transform slam him, so he hasn't really been able to to really do what he's been wanting to do. So the Man-at-Arms goes Fearful, which gives him a chance to move back, which would put the Crusader back into position, so oh, not too good. But it also gives him a chance to pass. It makes him do a lot of stress on act outs. He likes to do that, the Fearful. And it does also give him a bit of dodge, so I can potentially miss the Man-at-Arms, but, you know, I probably won't. He only has 25 dodge, that's not a lot. Not a lot whatsoever, especially when I have command buffs on my side. So they've been dropping panic darts on my poor little A-bomb here. He's really not having a good time now. I missed the Crusader, so that's the 80 from round 1 coming right back at me, because that 80 hitting there would have made that Crusader pretty much drop to 0. Would have gotten him Afflicted, not waste any horror of it, unfortunately. The Ring Mommy would not have it that way. The Man-at-Arms, even though he got redeemed for like a crit 59, is still not quite dropping to Death's Door, but he did still like almost drop to Death's Door with how much DOT I had stacked on him. That's why I found it a bit weird that he went for that early redeem, because, well, you only have 2, and he wasn't in any mortal danger, I felt, so I was still a bit surprised that they went for that and not just drop a Reclaim and try to make ends meet like that. So I just go for a crazy 30% chance stun, because I'm probably out of frustration here. I probably should have just moved back. I was praying that the Manacles would, or rather, I was praying that the Abomination would just move back and pile. Perhaps it was my headache that just made me forget that the Crusader had extra stun resistance on him. I just went for the 30 and, you know, it worked, so what can you say about it? What can you say about it? If it's stupid but it works, it's still stupid, but it's just lucky. Yeah, for this specific situation, usually that's not the case, but for this specific situation, no, it's still just stupid. So okay, now I have 3 afflictions on my opponent's side, so it's looking a hell of a lot better, but I have taken a lot of damage on my Abomination. He still has both his self-heals, but he doesn't, you know, he can heal himself for quite a bit, but the 1 Panic Darts basically negates all progress that I have made. So unfortunately, that might not be enough to just win me the match here. Just keeping him alive with the absolutions, because it's not going to take that long for him to just die again. So he takes a crit Panic Darts to the face there, gets a heart attack. Now I get to click with him and I get to go for the self-heal, which is the best time to go for the heal with the Abomination. Not only when he's at Death's Door, but after he just has a heart attack, because now I have the bolster buff, or actually I don't, I still haven't used bolster even after 7 turns. I don't have the bolster buff, but I have the heart attack recovery for minus 15% stress taken, and I'm down to 150 stress, so it's actually going to take, you know, at least 2 Panic Towers to get him down to 0 again, which is good. Actually, you will go down to 0, counting the blights and all that, so yeah, a crit absolution would have been better, but it's always going to be better. So the Crusader, which went, I can't remember what he went, but you know, it's round 7 already. I don't feel like there have been any bad act outs so far from my opponent's side, but they do have 3 afflictions. So I go for a Rain of Sorrows here. I get a very nice crit, but I unfortunately still fail to bleed on the Crusader. He just has such a high bleed resistance base at 70 that even with the Crimson Hook and even with him being afflicted, it's just sadly not being enough. It is a 60. it is a 60 to get it each time, but now I do have a crit, so I'm gonna get more bleed skill chance because of the crit, so next Rain of Sorrows I'll probably get to bleed on him. I go Fearful myself, you know, we have PTSD with the Fearful. Last time I went Fearful I immediately passed, dodged nothing, and got 25'd. So let's pray that that doesn't happen this time around, so I still get hit. I'm probably not going to pass. It's only a 12% chance with the Fearful. It is quite a bit, 12%, I must say. So here I still had one command buff, but unfortunately I just missed the Grave Robber. But you know, you hit some, you miss some. She has a lot of dodge. She has gotten a lot of crits too, but it's Panic Darts. You can expect it to crit like crazy. It's just the way Panic Darts works. Yeah, it do be just the way Panic Darts works. So Duelist's game plan here is just to keep the Grave Robber alive, and they can do it almost indefinitely between the reclaims, the heals from the Crusader, even as a last case scenario, the healing the guard from the Man-at-Arms. So at this point you might be wondering, Shep, why'd you do that? Why'd you click the A-bomb there? He was not dead if you clicked him, and you know, you didn't have to do that. Well, I kind of had to, because if I didn't, it would bellow me, and that would put me at just the perfect amount of stress, to which, if I clicked him, then he would die. And me wanting him to last another turn, obviously, I clicked him early and just went for a nice, juicy absolution on him, just to keep him alive for like, just a tiny bit longer, just squeeze as much value out of this abomination as I possibly can. So the Crusader goes for his action, goes for the Inspiring Cry. Irrational doesn't say no, Crusader no act out. That's a lot of stress being healed, which at this point, seeing my opponent go for Inspiring Cries, I have to stack upon Bellows. I can't let them outpace my stress output, because then it's really gonna reach over, and that would be really, really unfortunate for me. So yeah, imagine 2 Hound Series now. Their entire team's dead! But no, I don't have 2 Hound Series. The Man-at-Arms moves back, as I foretold, even though I don't remember him moving back. It's been a couple of days. There's the crit heal from the Flagellant, but he does drop to Death's Door, and he is Rapturous now, so bad things can happen. Very, very bad things can happen to this Flagellant. But unfortunately for me, he did not do anything, and he's probably just gonna drop an Exsanguinate or another Redeem. He drops another Redeem onto the Man-at-Arms, with Rancid Cure-All back up to almost full HP, and yeah, it's not looking good. Yeah, Rancid Cure-All Man-at-Arms at full HP, nah, that looks not so good, not bueno. Yeah, so here I misclick, well, quote-unquote misclick, so you can, I'm actually gonna roll that back a bit, so you can see that there's my, look at the cursor, it's here. I only click once, and it clicks the Man-at-Arms. You can see me like do a bit of this out of frustration, but I immediately just go along with it, like, okay, so be it, I click the Man-at-Arms, I guess. What I wanted to do, I believe, was go for a Rain of Sorrows. I believed that if I hit the Rain of Sorrows and got a crit, or at least a very high roll, I would bleed the Grave Robber, and the bleed would make her go down to 0, and then with her at 0 and the stress and the bell, I could potentially kill if she refused something from the Crusader, like a heal from the Crusader. And since the Flagellant can't go Reclaim anymore because he stays, like, that would have just been GG. I was a bit worried that they would just click the Grave Robber there and then not have to worry about the DOT anymore, so I'm immediately gonna go for the Rain of Sorrows. I do believe that was the game plan, but unfortunately I just missed, so yeah, there goes the game plan. Yeah, she had 8 bleed. Yeah, it could have been enough if I had gotten a crit. Could have been enough. If I had gotten like 4 damage, she would be essentially dead there. Because of the extra bleed, and then, you know, it could have been very juicy, the match could have been won at that point, but unfortunately fate would not have it that way. The command buffs, yeah, they're not working out, so the Man-at-Arms goes back again with Fearful. This time it's actually good for me because I can potentially go for Manacles on that Grave Robber. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to Manacles much longer. The Abomination is kind of on his last legs. He's at 181 stress and 0 HP remaining, and there's gonna be a panic darts on him. That's kill confirmed, and I go to positions 1 and 2 because of the crit, meaning that now Zealous hits both characters, so it could make a difference, but it also means that Flashman can't go Reign of Sorrows on me anymore, so that's also good. So at this point I only have 2 characters left, and I'm missing the Bellows, even though I have the Insignia of Rank. I haven't really dealt enough DOT or stress to kill to get like very good kills here. A crit punish could potentially kill the Crusader. Reign of Sorrows are gonna keep being dropped just to try and get rid of this Grave Robber, but she's just gonna chew through the rest of my team here with those panic darts. I'm not looking forward to it, obviously, but there goes the panic darts, and my man-at-arms is, whoa, it's a lot of stress. Where's your bolster numbing incense, Shep? Where are they? You would not even be afflicted now if you had that setup. So yeah, I see the crit punish. It's funny how past Shep thinks like future Shep. That's actually really hilarious. I just see a character which is on too high of amount of an HP for a punish, but like 160 stress, and I'm like, oh, crit punish? That's a kill. And I just go for it. It is quite funny. So the Flash one hits himself, which at the point I was like, ah, okay. And he's out of redeems already. He only has Xangs and Reclaims left. He cannot use Punish because he didn't bring Punish, he brought Reign of Sorrows. That's a very common practice in the Salix Prot team. You skip out on the Punish because your team, if you go Punish, no Reign of Sorrows, if you have only Punish, the Crusader's offense, which will be very lacking because you usually go defensive trinkets and just the panic darts, you're gonna get completely outsped by other stress teams and DOT teams, so that wouldn't be too much fun. So it is, as of now, as of turn 10, a 1v4. So it's been how many rounds of afflictions? Round 5 the Grave Robber got afflicted, so far my opponent has had 0 meaningful act-outs. There have been good act-outs actually, with the Man-at-Arms moving back. I suppose it is ironic of me to say that when the Man-at-Arms moving back twice has now caused the Crusader's death. But yeah, the Crusader is now gone, but my opponent still has the Grave Robber. They still have the Man-at-Arms. The Man-at-Arms is going to guard, and the Flash one can just spam Reclaims onto this Man-at-Arms while the Grave Robber spams panic darts on me, and this looks pretty much over. Like, I really tried to make this work, but that just lack of oomph is making this almost impossible. There are also going to be Exsanguinates being dropped onto my Flash one, so his healing is going to run out too. And yeah, it's not looking good. He's already going to be dropping to this store. He's going to have to drop Exsanguinates rather than pushing the pressure on the enemy backline. And just the Grave Robber and the Man-at-Arms now could probably win this. But they still have a Flash on their side. But I mean, I'm taking a book. I'm taking a book out of Salak's page. Jesus, I'm taking a page out of Salak's book. And I'm not surrendering. We do not surrender. We game on. We want to see this through. There are afflictions at play here, ladies and gents. Even though it doesn't feel like it, both my opponent's characters, you know, at least the ones that matter a lot at this point, which are the Fearful and the Irrational, can pass. It doesn't look like it. Like, not at all, because the Grave Robber, that's like the first act out she's done the entire match, and it's a self-hit for 3. During 7 turns, and you can see, even though my mouse is static, and I myself was probably static too, my mind was racing with, how is this Grave Robber not freaking acting out? How is she not acting out yet? How is she doing absolutely nothing? She's irrational. Irrational people act out a lot and do stupid things. So here the Flash one actually decides to go for a bit of an Exsanguinate, which I sort of disagree with, because I was dropping to this store anyway. So, I mean, I would get the Death on them, but it's still a bit of an interesting Exsanguinate there. They could have just potentially risked it, but they decide against it. They decide against risking it. They only have 1 Exsanguinate left now, and they can go for the pick and then try to get the Exsanguinate Death Blow, but it's quite unlikely that it works. They are rational, after all, so they do still have a bit of minus damage. So there's another act out. Oh, she hits herself for 3 this time again. Really unfortunate. So this time they go for the panic darts, And I could be afflicted already if they had just gone for panic darts twice, but since they decide against it, then, you know, there it is. The Man-at-Arms goes for an act out. I thought that was a pass, just a tiny bit of stress. So still, round 13, pretty much 8 turns of afflictions with nothing bad happening. He actually drops the guard, which is a very weird thing to do. Like, at this point, you could just guard the Flagellant, and then he'd be unkillable, and you just drop reclaims on everyone, and then those quote-unquote everyone's are unkillable because you have bleed resistance on your Men-at-Arms, and you can, you know, it would be very easy to keep, to just win this match. I go for a crit punish there on the Grave Robber. You know, the reason I don't go for an Exsanguinate there is because if I Exsanguinate here, I lose. And finally, after 9 freaking rounds, the Grave Robber does something meaningful, and my Flagellant gets to live for a bit longer. So finally, there's going to be a guard on the Flagellant now that he's already used all the Exsanguinates and can't get a death blow on me. So, you know, itty what itty. And he's going to be dropping reclaims onto the Grave Robber. So it looks like Duelist is doing the exact same thing, which I don't remember him for doing. That's quite odd. That is quite odd. I guess I just wasn't looking. So there's the crit punish I wanted, and I do almost enough to rid myself of her, but unfortunately it's not quite. And she is at 8 HP and at 198 stress, but she has the regen on her, even though I have a lot of bleed, so it's not really enough to get rid of her. I have to hit her with another crit punish if I want to get rid of the Grave Robber here. So she goes for the Panic Darts for the kill, 10% to get the kill. Unfortunately for Duelist, does not work, which means that my Flagellant gets to go Rapturous, which is a buff. Rapturous is a damage buff, but of course it can also do very silly things, which I did not like. So the Flagellant there hits the Grave Robber for 7 points of damage instead of 8, and it was just so saddening to see that 7 there, because if he had hit that Grave Robber for 1 more point of damage, he was on 8 HP, 198 stress. If he had hit her for 1 more point of damage, Grave Robber would have been dead. Just straight up dead, no questions asked, and literally nothing else that would happen here. So I go for another Death Sword check on the Flagellant. Unfortunately, he lives. Big unfortunately, I would have loved to get rid of him there with a crit, but yeah, I do get a crit on myself, so I suppose it's not all bad. I also have the last character standing buff plus the... what do you call it? Plus the Death Door buff, so the Exsanguinate wasn't really ever going to miss. And now the Grave Robber has more reclaims on her, so unless some stress act-outs happen, you know, it doesn't really look that bad for my opponent. I need some big stress act-outs happening here, like some huge ones. So I am still afflicted. I'm gonna keep eating those Panic Darts that we all know Dr. Grave Robber loves feeding us. And now the Man-at-Arms is a bit confused. Do I potentially change the guards, or do I not? Well, if they change guards here, I will 100% crit punish the Grave Robber, or at least attempt it. But since they don't change the guards, then, you know, I just have to get rid of this Flagellant. So if I manage to get rid of the Flagellant, then it means no more reclaims, it means none of that, and then all I have to do is get rid of the Man-at-Arms, which with Rancid Cure Holes can take freaking forever. But yeah, turn 17, and there has been one act out, which was bad, which was the Grave Robber passing once. That was the single bad act out. There was a self-hit, you know, there was a hit on the Grave Robber, but that didn't amount to anything. It just looked cool, and or rather made me despair, as 1 more point of damage would have won me the match immediately. Like, actually immediately won me the match, because my opponent wouldn't be able to kill me with just Man-at-Arms and Flagellants. So yeah, it would have been really cool to see that. So they tried to change the guards there, which is a bit odd, but the reason they did that is because they would change guards and then Shadow Fade, so it would be okay. Irrational clicks again, 12 turns later, so... And she goes for the Panic Darts now onto my Flagellant. And is that enough DOT to bring me down to 0? I don't believe it is. Nope, I get to live for a bit longer. And here comes the punish. And the enemy Flagellant is now finally dead. Took a couple attempts, but he's gone, and there's a heart attack. He still has a lot of regen onto that Grave Robber, so sadly for my opponent, the stress from the Flagellant dying, or rather the heal from the Flagellant dying, comes before the stress from him dying does, meaning that they aren't at just like full HP right now, otherwise they would be. But you know, it's a very good thing. So they drop more panic darts on me. This is when I realized, like, huh, I didn't drop bolster. Maybe I should have. Yeah, if I had the bolster, I'd actually be really, really happy here. But no, I wanted those command buffs for the crits, but yeah, unfortunately. I drop a punish on the man-at-arms, quite lucky to get the bleeds, and here I just need to stay alive for a bit longer. I need this grave robber to, like, keep passing, you know? She's still irrational. There's always hope. There is always hope when it's the Butcher's Circus. There's always a chance your opponent does something dumb. So what I wished for the most here is that the grave... is that the man-at-arms would pass, or rather, no, not that he would pass, but that he would move back and pass, which can't happen. So, because, yeah, unfortunately it can't happen. It would have been really, really cool if it did. I failed the bleed there, even though I got the crit, so unfortunately the man-at-arms actually stays alive, because if I didn't, it would be okay, but now they have Grave Robber with stealth, and the stealth buff for extra stress and extra damage and all that. There is an act out for pick to the face, which kind of saves me here. I managed to survive the death blow, and surviving the death blow means that I managed to survive as well. And now that Man-at-Arms is dead the moment he clicks, all that I need is to crit punish the Grave Robber. Unfortunately it fails, but it's okay. I failed the crit punish on the Grave Robber, or rather I miss her entirely. It was less than a 60% hit chance. She has no act outs, which could potentially be good here. Goes for the panic darts on me. No crits. I survive, but one more panic darts and I'm dead. Unfortunately, but here my world and my mind is blown as the Man-at-Arms manages to live. Like, what? He didn't take 5 damage? What? Yeah, he only takes 3 stress because he has a rancid because he has a numbing instance. Past me forgot it, and future me forgot that I forgot forgetting that. So yeah, very, very cool. So he's just going to bellow instead of going for the command buff, and yeah, it is an extra 2 stress. So what I really, 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 really need here is not to kill myself. So yeah, I needed a crit punish, or either a crit punish on the Man-at-Arms or a crit punish on the Grave Robber, and I could have potentially won that, but here we go into the second match of the best of 3. On a loss, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we did not win the previous one. It was almost a 1v4, but the Flagellum didn't quite make it. But I thought, like, oh, you know what? I got so unlucky that I'm going to play Shep Stress again. This time it's going to work. So let's see how it goes. So this time my opponent is playing Oppressive Arbalist, which is really not a team you want to go into. Especially going second. Going second with Shep Stress is already a nightmare. Going second with Shep Stress against a team like this, you know, it really sucks. Now, thankfully for me, I have countermeasures in place. My countermeasures are called Bellow with Pit Fighter's Helm and Insignia of Rank. It means that my entire opponent's team is going to be doing less damage. So, like Oppressive Vestal, the team my opponent has one goal. They kill one of the characters between Guard Break and the Duelist Advance and the stuns that they have and all that. And after killing that one character, they will still have more stuns than you, they will have more heals than you, they will have characters which are naturally difficult to kill, because either of Riposte, very high base HP, which is a Crusader, or the Shieldbreaker with her Serpent Sway. So yeah, it doesn't really look too good for me here, but I do have plus accuracy, and here I'm considering I could move forward, I could move back. Both sound decent. If I don't move back, I am gonna get stunned, and that means no Hound's Harries. And no Hound's Harries looks very bad, and also no Abomination turn, so that also looks bad. So I end up deciding, you know what, let's move back, stay alive for a bit, pray they don't get a crit sniper shot, let them stun my Flagellum. That's way better than them stunning my doggy at this point. And let's just vibe with it. So here I'm just going to transform. I need to apply the horror now to my opponent's side. I need to get the afflictions up and running. And here, the reason I slammed the Shieldbreaker and not the Crusader is because I don't really want to give the Crusader Holy Lance. Holy Lance would completely ruin me here. It would bring my doggy down to 0, to give them another attacking turn, maybe shave my Abomination's entire health bar. And of course now he's just going to stun my Abomination, which is also bad, but I felt like it was a tiny bit better. So between the Sniper Shot and the Puncture, I managed to actually stay alive here. I am still alive. I go for the Hound's Harry, probably my one and final turn with the doggy, because most likely now he's going to be getting stunned and killed. I was praying that doing this, actually I was just misplaying. I could have moved back and I probably would have stayed alive for a bit. But I was praying that I would potentially just survive a death blow here or something of the likes. I'm actually going to de-transform and bile, so this is really just slightly sloppy play for me. It really goes to show how I was not adapting to the situation whatsoever. It goes to show that I was sticking to the same plan that I always stick to playing this team, and not adapting as I usually do, because my brain just couldn't compute it. I could not adapt to the specific situations. I just saw, like, I was basically a zombie. Transform, slam, command, buff, bear law. It was basically how I was going while I was playing the moves, so it is a bit unfortunate, because the reason I should have moved back again is because then I'm still gonna be at this store, I'm probably still gonna die, but the Highman isn't gonna get a kill on me. He doesn't reach position 4, and they've already used their Shieldbreaker turn. So they would have gone first anyway, but for them to go first, they would to kill me, they would have to sniper shot me, so to bring me down to 0, and then start of next round, they would have to puncture me to either get me to move forward, but if they puncture me, then I could move back again, and all they have to kill me is another 40, and that's way more turns than they're using already, while their Highman is, because their Highman is their only finisher, so they would not actually get that good chance of finishing me, because they had a 70 to kill the Highman. All the other characters would have 25s, which would have given me the chance to survive enough death blows that my Man-at-Arms, Flashlight, and Abomination are capable of just winning this on their own. So my Flashlight is getting stunned here every other turn, unfortunately. My Man-at-Arms is just doing his thing, he's dropping bell after bell as he should. The Shieldbreaker does not have Adder's Kiss, which is really freaking bad for my opponent. Not having Adder's Kiss against a Crusader, against a Man-at-Arms like this really sucks. But of course they have Duelist, which is another extremely balanced character, meaning that she just crits for half your health bar, even though you have protection and she has bell debuffs on her. And you don't have a mark, and you're not marked, even though she's a marked character. Oh, don't think too much about it, Shep, come on. Don't think it over too much. So the Higher Man went Masochistic, and Masochistic is not a very good affliction to get, for me, because it's basically gonna do nothing for me. Him hitting himself, well, I'm gonna stress him, like, who cares? Not minus damage, not minus accuracy, doesn't pass. I couldn't care less about him getting masochistic or not. It's basically just a non-affliction at this point. All it can do is like a bit of stress. But yeah, here come the bellows. Bellows just bellows. The Shieldbreaker goes fearful, but she doesn't have any dodge trinkets on her. My opponent actually went for the Eerie Eye and Puncture setup. This basically means that any Grave Robbers and Antiquarians are gonna get bullied out of position 4. They are just really not gonna enjoy themselves. They're not gonna have a fun game. And against every other character, you actually have really good accuracy on the Shieldbreaker, which you normally wouldn't. And you still have those exposes and the pierces. And if you get targeted, you have an Arbalist which can flare away the stun, which is the worst opponent here for you, and you can still Serpent Sway yourself. So most people wouldn't run that because, oh, if you have no dodge on the Shieldbreaker, then she's gonna, you know, she already never dodges, but if you have no dodge on the Shieldbreaker, she's never gonna dodge. She's gonna get stunned and die because she can't Serpent Sway while she's stunned. Well, but if you have a healer, well, 2 healers, and one of them is also a stun remover, you can remove the stun and Serpent Sway yourself, and kind of just stay alive with the Shieldbreaker and make the damage team look stupid for trying focusing her anyway. So if there's any team to get away with Eerie Eye, Net on, it will be the oppressive Arbalist here that Duelist is playing. So the the Crusader, thankfully for me, goes abusive and immediately hits the Shieldbreaker. Not killing her, but it immediately hits the Shieldbreaker. They go for a smite and they do 7 damage, which it's not a lot of damage, but it's just enough to bring my Man-at-Arms down to 0. The reason they did that is because they wanted to bring my Man-at-Arms down to 0 and use their Arbalist as a turn to just flare away the stun and the debuffs. and then just kind of like start anew. What I really wanted there was to manacles that Highman. Would have gotten a stun on him too, but you know, if I do that, the Arbos just flares. And while I am kind of an advocate for going crazy in a situation like this, if I did that, oh, that's actually a really risky move not to go for the bullet there. Not going for the bullet means that now they only have a 50-50. You could have gotten a 25 into an 85, but instead they go for a 50-50, which unfortunately works. If I had gotten another bell off there, whoa, it would have been amazing. But, you know, such is the way of the Butcher's Circus. My Man-at-Arms is now gone, and all I have left is an Abomination with no transforms and Reign of Sorrow spam, and pray that it works, basically. Actually, the enemy Crusader went irrational. I thought he went abusive. He went irrational instead, so that's even better for me that he got the act out hit. That's really rare. So he's going to stun me again, because that's fun. The Flatulent just not getting to play for yet another turn. He gets to act, and then the stun resistance goes away, and then boom, right back to it. So here we're going to call some heart attacks, we're going to call some stress, we're going to do some work. Keep in mind that previous round I could have just gone for a punish on the Shieldbreaker. She has been very vulnerable for a while, but I kind of decided against it. I thought that, you know, I could kill the Shieldbreaker, but she's not the biggest threat here. And if I just focus too hard on killing the Shieldbreaker, they're going to stabilize with their other characters. And then I won't be able to kill the other characters, because I'll be forced to go for Exsanguinates or Redeems, and I don't really have reach to the Arbos and all that without terrain. So I thought... let's pray that the Shieldbreaker just dies on her own from other characters doing stress or horror and all that. So the Higher Man there goes for a move forward act out, my beloved. Wicked Slice only does 11 damage, one off from getting rid of me. And the act out from that Crusader. That Crusader is a G. He is playing on my team. He stuns the Shieldbreaker. Actually, no, didn't move back, but kills the Higher Man there from calling him an idiot, basically, after he didn't do enough damage to bring me down to 0. That's actually really funny. And now the Shieldbreaker, unfortunately, doesn't say no to the heal. She's fearful, so it could have happened. But yeah, she doesn't say no to the heal, unfortunately. I'm just going to click the flash on here. No reason not to. I'm just going to keep my Abomination turned in the meantime. I could potentially use it for a stun, I could use it for something else, so clicking the Flatulent or not clicking the Flatulent here first won't make a difference as to the Flatulent himself. So the Expose is going to come down. That does mean crits received, but it probably won't make too much of a difference unless it comes to stuns. And here I'm just going to drop the Beast Bow. It's funny how you saw me already hovering over the third ability. You can see how quickly I play when I don't actually have to commentate. Even when I'm playing like this is completely sickly, there was really not too much point in like overthinking stuff, because my mind would just not be in the zone, unfortunately. It would just not be in the zone to win this. But the Abomination is looking really good, and my opponent has to kind of salvage themselves from this terrible looking situation, because in this matchup I actually did a lot of stress. Yeah, even though I didn't get any Harry crits, because, you know, I only got one Harry off, but it was fine, at least I hit everyone. He was just focused down a bit too early, but yeah, it looks really good for me at this point, and I have a few options here with the Flagellant. So here's the thing, I kind of want to exsanguinate I kind of want to kill the Shieldbreaker, obviously. I don't want to exsanguinate the corpse. If I exsanguinate the corpse, I can't bile into the two characters that I want to bile into, and if I exsanguinate the corpse, then the Crusader goes to position 2 where you can actually stun me, which isn't good either. So I just drop a Redeem there onto the Abomination. Also, Redeems before exsanguinates, ladies and gents, especially in a stress team like mine. Always redeem before exsanguinate. That's the rule of thumb, because then you're gonna be the last character standing, and you're gonna have like 2 exsangs and 2 redeems left, and that looks really freaking stupid. But yeah, she just Serpent Sways you, which is pretty much a non-move, and now the Crusader is going to be dropping to this door and not having a lot of fun. The reason she does that, obviously, is so she goes out of the reach of, what do you call it? Goes out of Highwayman. Well, no, puts the Highwayman in position 2, so I can't bile her, and the Crusader said no to the heal, so that's just a W for me, and thankfully I move on to a match number 3. So in this match number 3, you're gonna see me do just the biggest string of stupidity that you've ever seen. So I didn't say GG to Duelist at the start, but I almost wanted to. This is the second time it's happened. I think the same thing happened against David or someone. They played Goliath, they decided to play Goliath, and I was lucky enough to... Oh no, actually no, it happened against Mr. D in the best of 10. They decided to play Goliath for some bizarre reason, and I picked Salak's Prot number 2 at just the perfect time. So Salak's Prot number 2 is this team with a lot of protection, very high amounts of max HP, and the character you really want to reach in the back. Now, what can Goliath not do? Reach characters in the back or deal with high amounts of protection and high amounts of max HP. So technically this is the perfect matchup. But I'm gonna play it so horribly that it's not gonna be just a free win. At least. And I might actually throw it into a loss. So let's see what actually happens here. So yeah, I went for the Block of Light immediately since I got to go first, which means extra protection, means everything is fine. I went for just the immediate Festering Vapors because I thought, I don't really care if they hit my Manticore in here. I'm just gonna guard her in a couple rounds anyway, so who cares. I could reclaim her, and I'm like, oh fine, let's reclaim her, which... Shep, why? She's not in any danger, you're just going to guard her. And you're just bleeding yourself on the flagellant. Why are you doing that? Okay. It's okay, it's okay. Me taking a bit of damage doesn't matter. I'm gonna bellow anyway. And I missed the bellow on the leper. I'm missing bellows on lepers, man. Missing bellows on lepers. So here's what I should have done. Guard the Antiquarian with my man-at-arms, move forward with the Flagellant. So most times you don't want to be in position 2 with your Crusader, because he's gonna get pushed to the back, and if he isn't pushed to the back, he's gonna eat beast spiles, and you don't like that. You don't like that whatsoever. You want to keep him in position 1 in a team like this, where he's much better with the Zealous Accusation. Him being in position 2 is just weird. It feels very weird in a situation like this. So yeah, I'm hit down to very low amounts of HP here, and what's gonna happen is actually quite funny. I'm going to click my Antiquarian turn, I'm gonna drop Festering Vapors, of which I get 3 crits, because that's Antiquarian RNG. Like, Antiquarian RNG is something out of this world, and then Duelist says, haha, that was a mistake. He says clicking the Man-at-Arms was a mistake. In the DMs, it doesn't show here, unfortunately, but he says it was a mistake, and I'm like, nah, it wasn't. Nah, it wasn't. I still have my Crusader turn, and I just go for the heal. But, like, this is being so unnecessarily dicey. My Antiquarian is potentially finaleable. She has protection, she has a decent amount of max HP, so she's not gonna get finale'd here, but this is just so unnecessary. I could just have my Flagellant in position 1, where you can't be hit by either Harvests or the... Yeah, Harvest is also a thing here. Harvest doesn't bleed my Crusader, but it bleeds the hell out of my Flagellant. He could be in position 1, not bleeding himself like a bozo for the Antiquarian, which should be guarded anyway. And oh my god, like, this match, it just looks so silly. This is really why sick Shepherd Doggy should not be playing teams he's not perfectly comfortable with yet. So I'm being hit down to 0. Oh well, not 0 here, but close. And I'm already finaleable. I am already finaleable. It's not looking good. It is not looking good. Of course, the Jester's finale is like the one thing that could potentially make things bad for me here, and I'm having to use my Antiquarian on the defense. Oh, it really sucks to see. Now they're just going to shoot me because I haven't put the Flagellant in position 1, where he should be anyway. Oh man, this really sucks. So the Leper still has his turn. He might just go for an immediate chop to make use of that exotic snuff damage. It looks like that's what Duelist is going towards. It's just that that leper going for the chop. You can see I'm actually moving my mouse around a bit more here. So this is kind of like when I wake up, like, oh, maybe I should be playing Circus a bit more than I am. You see me want to go for the Exsanguinate. It's a 90% hit chance. I'm kind of a bit, maybe I shouldn't, but I do end up going for it. So that leper has dodged the bellow and resisted the Exsanguinate bleeds. That leper, man, he doesn't want this tea that my team is giving him. He really doesn't. So they're gonna keep spamming those harvests. Basically, I do believe they have blood red coin on the Jester. I'm not entirely sure though. They might not have it. I might be making that up. So they might not have blood red coin on the Jester. I really don't have a bellow man-at-arms here. Like, I should really just be guarding, at least for like a bit of protection on that Antiquarian. Everything will be perfectly okay. Like, one thing I could even do here is guard the Flagellant, and use Protect Me on the Crusader. They can't kill anyone. Yeah, finally I move back with my Crusader by round 3. It should have happened round 1 with the Flagellant just moving forward, but finally it happened. So my Crusader, like, look at him. He has 45 HP, 55 prot. He's never gonna get killed. And he has 70% bleed rest. So instead I just decide to shoot my Man-at-Arms and do almost his entire health bar anyway, because he hasn't guarded, so his protection is still kind of trash. So I go for another Antiquarian turn. I miss the freaking Leper! How am I missing the Leper? It's okay, I'm still getting a ton of crits because it's Antiquarian RNG. Like, it's actually uncanny how brutal the Antiquarian RNG is. She just goes wild. She goes completely wild, getting those crits with the Festering Vapors when she definitely shouldn't. There's no command buffs, there's no Crimson Hook. Like, she doesn't even have guaranteed hit chances. How is she getting so many crits? I don't get it. Really, I do not get it, but they're gonna go for their Leopard turn, and I'm starting to see that I might lose a character here, like, round 4. And it might not even be to a finale. Like, it really freaking sucks. This is a matchup that is, like, unlosable if you're playing it reasonably well, which means that I have not been playing it reasonably well. I can heal someone here, but I just decide, oh, I want to Zealous. Force them on the defense. Force them on the defense now. I just kind of figure out that, you know, it might be a bit too late for me to try and fix my mistakes, so I'm just gonna have to vibe with this. So I drop the Destor here with the Man-at-Arms, watch what I do. I move back! If you want to kill my Man-at-Arms with any decent chance of getting the kill, it's gonna have to be with Finale. That's the only finisher they have, is the Jester, so they could very well take like 3 actions. Excuse me, take 3 actions just trying to kill the Man-at-Arms, going for Holy Lances, Sniper Shots. Those are very important turns that my opponent could be doing for something else, but, excuse me, they just get a 25, so, yeah, it's bad. My cough is becoming bad too. I didn't choke, I don't know. I guess my throat has finally had it. I've had it too with this freaking Leper resisting every single bleed that I throw at him. Like, every single bleed that I've thrown at this Leper has failed. Exsanguinate, Punish, it's an 85 to hit. How does it keep failing? And the Jester does indeed have Finisher. He does not have the Blood Red coin. He's gonna go for the Harvest, gets a crit on it. Thankfully I do resist the bleed on the Crusader, but I do not dodge with my Antiquarian, so that is a bit unfortunate. I'm going to preemptively click my Flagellant here before he gets stunned. I'm gonna go for Exsank, and I miss a 90 on the Leper! I miss a 90 on the freaking Leper! I missed the fellow on him! I missed the Nick Punish, I missed the I missed the Festering, I missed the Nick Sanguinate, I failed 2 bleeds. How does this guy keep doing this? He has 0 dodge, 15 bleed res. How is it possible? I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna lose the Flagellant here quite early. And this matchup is unlosable! How am I possibly losing this? Oh god. Yeah. So at this point I'm wondering whether I should even heal the Flagellant, because you're just gonna get brought right back down to 0 and killed anyway. So the reason why I went there actually healed the Jester was because he was dropping to this store, so if they went for the immediate Dirk Stab, I just go Festering Vapors and get the kill on him, because it's a 50-50 because of my finisher. So I get 2 Fearfuls on my opponent's side, which could actually save me here. Fearful means they move back, and it means they deal like 0 damage. So that is very, very impactful in a situation like this, especially on Leper and on Jester. But, you know, they go for the Dirk Stab and they get a 50. Oh, they got the 25 on the Man-at-Arms and now they get the 50 on the Flagellant. Like, terrible decision making paired with terrible RNG to everyone apart the Antiquarian. Of course, Antiquarian gets Antiquarian RNG, but everyone but her has had the absolute worst freaking RNG. But yeah, finally the Crusader goes abusive, which was actually quite good that he didn't go virtuous. Yeah, if he went virtuous this time, would have been really, really bad for me. And now he's just going to heal the Jester. The Jester could say no. He could say no to being healed, but unfortunately, Fate would not have it that way. And now I'm I'm in this really weird spot where I just have to drop Zealouses and pray that they hit, which they do actually, even though it's a fearful Jester with 50 dodge, I'm hitting Zealouses on him. Wow, awesome. I should never be having to go Zealous with the Crusader. Like, my entire team should be alive and kicking, and the Festering Vapors should have been dropped from round 1 and nothing else should be dropped, but you know. We all saw what happened, but we just have to keep on gaming as is. So he doesn't say no to the heal again, unfortunately, and now I'm probably just gonna have to go Festering Vapors. So I'm not worried of a finale happening immediately. I know it will happen soon, but not immediately at the very least, because if they Holy Lance, then they'll be out of position to finale me. So at least I have that going for me. And they can Holy Lance, but they won't Holy Lance from my entire health bar because of the 20 prot. They might get very close to it with Abusive for the plus damage, if they even hit, but it won't be enough to just outright kill me. So the Leper has not been having a good time either. The Festering Vapors that I did land on him have brought him down to 0. Or rather, almost 0. I've brought him down to 1, even after his Solemnity. And here, my opponent sees the chop and they actually go for it. I thought they went for his other self-heal here, but no, they actually just go for the chop. They're probably going to drop the self-heal afterwards. And yeah, it's probably just going to be... It still looks kind of dicey for my opponent, even though this has been going so well, because they still need to find a way to kill my Crusader. The best way to kill my Crusader at this point would be to keep their Crusader alive and just spam stuns on me, as I'm the last character standing, and then all the other characters can kind of just leech off of the Arbalest healing to not die, while the Crusader slowly withers me down by perma-stunning me to their store. So yeah, that is something my opponent will probably want to do. So the Jester there just goes for a Harvest, and now their Crusader is going to go for the Holy Lance, which does hit and doesn't really do that much damage, honestly. But I am taking enough DOT to go to 1 HP. Not quite enough to die, thankfully. I am thinking, oh, I'd really like a Zealous here, so I'm gonna go for Zealous. The reason I also go for the Zealous at this point is because I would love to have that guard just get massive value. Because if I use up my Crusader turn and then I go for the Protect Me, the guard will last for this round and then another 2. Or rather, this round, the next one, and then until I click the Crusader again. Because the way it works is, when you use the Protect Me guard, it lasts for 2 rounds, and then when you click the Crusader, it's gonna eat up one of those rounds. When you click the Crusader again, it's gonna eat up the other round that you have at the end of your Crusader turn, not at the beginning. That would be just stupid. But yeah, I'm getting shot down to actually 0 here, and at this point I can't guard. I have to go for the take cover because of what they did. So I go for the take cover here, and I have extra death blow resistance. I'm up to 95, and they don't have any confirmed finishers. They only have the Jester as a finisher, and they can't finale me here. They can't do the funny move back into finale trick again. So yeah, the Leopard did die there. A bit prematurely, honestly. They could have dropped the heal the previous round, but they would just die this round anyway. Or rather, like in 2 rounds anyway to a Zealous. You're probably gonna watch like a lot of Festerings or Zealouses going to his corpse. So, you know, that's still that. So the Crusader doesn't go for any bad act outs, sadly. The Fearful still doesn't say no to being healed. Like, Fearful usually says no to being healed, but I can't really complain too much because we've been hitting every single ability on him, even though he has all that dodge. So sadly, extremely sadly, my Crusader gets hit with a bleed there. I go for Zealous on the enemy Crusader, and oh, it's so close. 193. He has to say no. He has to say no to the heal from the Arbalest if I want this to work out for me. But will it work? He could also just click and drop a Rally to the Flame, but then I could potentially just kill him Starve next round anyway. So I was thinking of not going Festering Vapors here, but I ended up just deciding on it. I need to cause some mayhem here. I need to make them all have heart attacks, all go to 0 HP, stack those DOTs high, make them all suffer with my incessant horde of cesspit sensor that the Antiquarian has. The Crusader is... finally the Fearful says no to a heal, meaning that the Crusader will probably just heal the Arbalest, but no, he decides against it, goes for the stun on my Crusader. I get to go first, so that's actually pretty good. But What would happen here is that they would go for the Dirk Stab on the Crusader, and if I decided to go first and go for the Festering Vapors, they would get a Finale on my Antiquarian, and that would be really, really bad. But since their Jester passed once more, or at least passed this time around, since he actually passed there, that means no Finale is gonna drop, but I'm still at their store, meaning that they're gonna be able to go for the Dirk Stab and probably get the kill on me here, but I do have the extra death blow resistance, so they don't have a guaranteed hit, but I don't have the heal anymore, so what they could do here is just have a better shot at getting the kill, go for the sniper shot first, and then the Dirk Stab to have a better shot at getting the kill, but they decide against it, and instead of going for like a 5 into a 60, they go for like a 40 into a 20, essentially, and the 20 now is going to be dropped. If they don't kill the shield, the Antiquarian here, they pretty much just lose. They go for the sniper shot, it's not a kill, and Duelist surrenders, and after that incredible first match, we have an incredible second and an incredible third where I basically threw for the content. I threw for the content, but I still managed to get the win, so it's like the maximum amount of content you can achieve when you throw but you still win. So yeah, hope y'all enjoyed today's video. I do feel a lot better. My throat is still not fully recovered, but you know, itty what itty. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see you again another time. Cheers.